Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Trigger warning, I believe the Bible is God's revelation and 100% truth. So just want to let you know that right up front. That's where I'm coming from. Today we're looking at Psalm 97, the whole psalm this week, 97. Today just verses 1, 2, and 3. Now this is another one of those orphanic psalms, so we're still in the psalm orphanage here. It don't have a name attributed to this particular psalm, but this is a dandy. This tells us about the Lord. We have a prayer to the Lord here. It tells us something about the heathen, and it tells us something about the saints. So let's dig in here and find out all these things that we have to learn about the Lord, about the heathen, about the saints, and maybe how we're to pray to the Lord. So it's a little bit of interesting prayer language here that we want to cover too. But today, verses 1, 2, and 3, we're in the opening section that tells us about the Lord. And the very first thing that it says there in verse 1, the Lord reigneth. So sovereignty is a topic here. Let me read those verses for you. The Lord reigneth. Let the earth rejoice. Let the multitude of the isles be glad thereof. Clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. A fire goeth before him, and burneth up his enemies round about. So we have here a beautiful description of, what is this, God's courtroom? You know, every king and queen has a throne, and on that throne they sit, and when they sit upon that throne, usually the court will be in session, and with the court you'll have either the queen or the consort or whoever it might be that's with the monarch, and then you'll have the courtiers, and these are people that are important to the court, the vice-regent, the viceroy, the principal elders and nobles of the country may gather there with their people. You'll have the military presence there. You'll have the entire cabinet of advisors that would be present for the king. And so here in this setting, in Psalm 97, we get kind of a look at the courtroom, not the individuals that are gathered there, but the actual environs of the throne. So the Lord reigns. Let the earth rejoice. Let the multitude of the isles be glad thereof. So this courtroom seems rather large now, doesn't it? Clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. So clouds and darkness, this is not something new to us. We've seen this imagery before. He sets his tabernacle in dark waters. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation. It's the place where his throne sits, then, is in a place of righteousness and judgment. And we understand that, right? Because it's a throne. So there are going to be decrees that come from the throne. And those decrees are founded or based in righteousness and judgment. A fire goes before him. So clouds, darkness, a fire goes before him and burns up his enemies round about. So he is executing judgment here in the very first part of this psalm. And certainly God's judgment will take place against all those his enemies. If you look down there in verse 7, we're going to find out about some of those enemies, the heathen that worship idols. We'll get to them in a little bit. But tomorrow, we're going to look at verses 4, 5, and 6. We have more information about the Lord and about this throne room and what proceeds from it. So we'll see about that tomorrow. I hope you'll join me then as we look at verses 4, 5, and 6 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.